Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler will now be taking place under MMA rules at SummerSlam this weekend. One match that isn't going to be taking place, however, is Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus. We've got the ratings for Friday's episode of SmackDown on Fox. Superstar Spectacle returns later on this year as WWE returns to the country of India. More names have been added to the SummerSlam Battle Royal. Could Imperium be set to split up? Well, on Raw this week, it was indicated that maybe that's not going to be the case. Logan Paul makes things personal with Ricochet Monday night. Roman Reigns is set to appear on ESPN today, and Maxine Dupree wins her debut singles match. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of world wrestling entertainment, especially with it being SummerSlam week. Let's start off talking about Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler. Now, WWE has officially added a stipulation for the match between Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler at SummerSlam. Their clash will be contested under mixed martial arts rules. Neither of the women appeared live during Monday night's episode of Raw. However, they were featured in a pair of hype videos examining their long history, which dates back to their days before their days in professional wrestling, when both were active MMA fighters. Baszler emotionally aired her grievances with Rousey, saying, quote, "This whole thing has been set up from day one for her to be elevated to this position despite the work of everyone else, namely me, who'd come before her," Baszler said. "It happened in MMA, it's happening here, and I'm done. I'm sick of it." Baszler also talked about being a godmother to Rousey's daughter and predicted the little girl will never forgive the former NXT Women's Champion for what she does to her mother at SummerSlam. Behind the scenes, of course, it appears Rousey's SummerSlam match could be her last in WWE for the foreseeable future. She reportedly has a, quote, hard out date for when she will begin her next hiatus from professional wrestling. Rousey was determined to do an on-screen feud with her longtime friend before she steps away from the squared circle. Their storyline started as an on-screen friendship before it suddenly crumbled at Money in the Bank. That's when Baszler shockingly turned on Rousey mid-match, costing them their Women's Tag Team Championship. So what are your thoughts on this match now taking place under MMA rules, and where do you think this one's going this weekend at the biggest event of the summer? But one match that isn't going to be taking place is Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus. Despite seemingly months of build to it, it's not happening at SummerSlam. After weeks of build, Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus will not take place at WWE SummerSlam, but on an episode of Raw later on this month. As announced during Monday Night's Raw's episode this week, Lynch versus Stratus in a Night of Champions rematch is set for the Monday, August 14 Raw in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. In a bout where Lynch would earn a rematch with Stratus if she defeated Stark, Lynch defeated Stark on last week's episode of Raw. The Lynch versus Stratus rematch did technically take place on this week's episode, with Lynch defeating Stratus in seconds after Stark immediately interfered to cause a disqualification. But in a follow-up backstage segment, on-screen authority figure Adam Pearce made another rematch for August 14, with Stark banned from ringside. Lynch and Stratus met for the first time at Night of Champions on May 27 in Saudi Arabia. Stratus won the bout with an assist from Zoe Stark, and the program continued through July's Money in the Bank pay-per-view and on Raw in the ensuing weeks. The Stratus vs Lynch feud was set in motion on the April 10 episode of Monday Night Raw, where Stratus teamed with Lynch in defending the Women's Tag Team titles. After they lost the match, Stratus turned heel on Lynch to set up the Night of Champions bout, with many predicting the match would take place at SummerSlam, but indeed, it's now going to take place in Canada instead. Is this the right move for you? Is the SummerSlam card too loaded, and does it make more sense to have the match in Stratus' home country if indeed it could be her final match ever inside of a professional wrestling ring? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section below. Now, we've got the ratings for last Friday's episode of SmackDown on Fox. Of course, it was returned to the network after airing on FS1 the week prior. WWE SmackDown averaged 2.323 million viewers for its return to Fox this past Friday night. The show had been moved to FS1 the previous week due to Fox's coverage of the Women's World Cup. The viewership is up around 0.6% from 2 weeks ago when SmackDown last aired on Fox, but it is the second lowest audience total for a Fox airing of the show since June 9. SmackDown drew a 0.61 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic, more than tripling anything else on network television for the night. Again, still dominating the coverage on Friday night. That's down 1.6% from 2 weeks ago, though, and matches the show's lowest rating for a Fox episode since June 9 as well. So despite the viewership going up a little bit and the rating going down a little bit, still dominating television on Friday nights. Of course, the July 21 episode that was moved to FS1 averaged 1.23 million viewers and drew a 0.36 rating in the 18 to 49. As compared to the same week in 2022, though, SmackDown was up 5.9% in overall viewers and up a whopping 17.3% in the 18 to 49 demographic. SmackDown has been up year over year in both overall viewers and the 18 to 49 every week since January 20th, of course with the exception of last week when the show was on FS1. But again, going to show that WWE, remarkably in this day and age, has been able not only to grow the audience but significantly grow the 18 to 49 demographic as well. So again, still very strong numbers for SmackDown on Fox last Friday. Now, WWE is now officially returning to India later this year. WWE announced today its long-awaited return to India with WWE Superstar Spectacle at the GMC Bangalore Indoor Stadium in Hyderabad, India on Friday, September 8, 2023. This will mark the first live event to take place in India since 2017 and the first ever WWE live event to be held in Hyderabad. Tickets for Superstar Spectacle will be available from 12 p.m. on Friday, this being this Friday. Obviously, again, it's going to feature the likes of World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins is advertised, Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley, Undisputed Tag Team Champions Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, Intercontinental Champion Gunther, Jinder Mahal, Veer, Sangha, Drew McIntyre, Becky Lynch, Natalya, Matt Riddle, Ludwig Kaiser, and many more have been advertised for the show. In addition to the names mentioned above in the WWE's press release, included on the poster, which you can see, are Shanky and Odyssey Jones too. WWE also held an India-themed Superstar Spectacle show on January 2021, but it took place in the US-based Thunderdome rather than in India because of the pandemic. But the show was a big success for WWE, so indeed they're going to be returning to the country later this year for the event on September 8th. Now, more names have been added to the SummerSlam Slim Jim Battle Royal. The field for the first ever SummerSlam Battle Royal is starting to take shape. On last night's episode of Raw, it was announced that the likes of Shinsuke Nakamura, who we'll touch on in just a second, Tommaso Ciampa, Chad Gable, and Otis will join SmackDown superstars LA Knight and Sheamus in the match. Nakamura and Ciampa announced their own entries into the Battle Royal in a backstage segment, which set up an impromptu match that the King of Strong Style won by grabbing Ciampa's tights, maybe teasing a heel turn from the former United States champion. During the segment, Ciampa, who recently returned to WWE TV from an injury, made it clear he needed to beat Nakamura to pick up some momentum and carry the same into the Battle Royal on August 5th. Nakamura, meanwhile, who has been displaying heelish tendencies of late, mocked Ciampa for thinking he had a shot to win the Battle Royal while declaring his own intentions to win the match. Later in the show, the announcers confirmed that Gable and Otis of Alpha Academy would also be in the Battle Royal presented by Slim Jim. Gable had an impressive showing on Raw as he survived the Beat the Clock challenge against Intercontinental Champion Gunther, albeit he subsequently lost to the Ring General in a regular bout. Later on Raw Talk, Gable told Gunther that he'd be waiting for the leader of Imperium on the other side of SummerSlam after the latter goes to battle with Drew McIntyre at the Premium Live event. While WWE has not put a number on the list of participants in the Battle Royal, one can assume that the majority of wrestlers not booked on the card would be involved in the match. As of this recording, the likes of Matt Riddle, Ludwig Kaiser, Giovanni Vinci, AJ Styles, Apollo Crews, the Street Profits, Bobby Lashley, Butch, and Grayson Waller are all not on the SummerSlam card but haven't been confirmed for the Battle Royal as of the recording of this video. So we'll have to wait and see indeed how that one plays out. But we spoke about Imperium. There's been lots of teases in recent weeks about Imperium possibly splitting up, but it looks like things are good for now anyway. There seems to be an update on the potential that WWE could be splitting up the faction Imperium after previously teasing dissension between the members, with Gunther expressing his displeasure with both Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser. Last night was a chance at redemption, well, for Ludwig Kaiser at least anyway, as he took on Matt Riddle with Gunther and Vinci at ringside to observe closely. Before that match, there was an interesting backstage segment as Gunther revealed that he was disappointed in both Kaiser and Vinci, but especially Kaiser after noting, "Don't get me started started on Gio, signalling that perhaps Vinci remains a bit on the outs. Despite a challenging match, in the end, Ludwig Kaiser was able to pick up the victory in the match against Matt Riddle and get back into Gunther's good books. Imperium stood tall after the match, with Ludwig Kaiser and Gunther shaking hands in the ring, with Kaiser appearing pleased to have gotten the approval of the ring general once again. As I mentioned, Gunther will defend his Intercontinental Championship against Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam this coming Saturday on August 5th. So it looks like Imperium are good for now anyway. Now, a bit of an update on the feud between Logan Paul and Ricochet, because things were made personal last night on Monday Night Raw. A brawl between Ricochet and Logan Paul kicked off last night's episode, the SummerSlam Go Home edition of Raw, on July 31st, after Paul got very personal. During the opening segment of last night's Raw, the last before SummerSlam on Saturday, Logan Paul addressed the rather hostile Texas crowd. He was shortly thereafter interrupted by his SummerSlam opponent Ricochet, who shared that while he was sure Logan Paul was a horrible human being, he was an excellent athlete and he could respect at least that. However, that respect seemed to quickly fade after Logan Paul brought forth a personal insult, pointing out that Ricochet's real-life fiancée and Raw ring announcer Samantha Irvin would have to announce Paul as the winner on Saturday after he beats her own man. As if this feud needed an extra element, the inclusion of the remarkable Samantha Irvin upped the ante at the last Raw before SummerSlam continues. Certainly, though, things again got very personal after that. What were your thoughts on the introduction of Samantha Irvin into this feud? Could we see possibly her actually announce Logan Paul as the winner this weekend? Who do you think is going to win? Is it going to be Ricochet? Is it going to be Logan Paul? Let me know your thoughts, your predictions, your opinions in the comment section below. Now, Roman Reigns is set to be on ESPN today. Stephen A. Smith, Molly Quorum, and the rest of the ESPN First Take crew will acknowledge the head of the table of professional wrestling at 11:15 Eastern today. WWE has announced, and they announced last night, that Roman Reigns will grace ESPN studios with his presence Tuesday morning, that being today, to promote the upcoming SummerSlam Premium Live event, where he will put forth the title of the Tribal Chief and his undisputed WWE Universal Championship on the line against Jey Uso. Certainly, again, going to be a really fascinating watch. Now, Reigns last appeared on the Sports Debate Show in October 2020 to discuss his fandom for the San Francisco 49ers, and even urged Los Angeles Rams defensive tackle Aaron Donald to join WWE due to his impressive physique, arguing that Donald could make a smooth transition to wrestling if given the opportunity. Reigns had also appeared on First Take prior to WrestleMania 35 to speak on his battle with leukemia and his return to wrestling from a life-threatening condition. Besides those appearances, Reigns has made several stops at the ESPN studios for interviews on shows such as Get Up and SportsCenter to promote various WrestleManias. Earlier this year, Reigns also sat down with UFC legend and ESPN analyst Daniel Cormier to preview his match against Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 39. Typically, WWE superstars are known to make several media appearances in the lead up to WWE's Big Four premium live events. As such, it's more than likely that other current champions such as Seth Rollins, Rhea Ripley, Austin Theory, and Asuka will be making the media rounds through the week in the lead up to Saturday's SummerSlam event. So certainly going to be interesting to see Roman appear on that show. Finally, Maxine Dupree won her debut singles match last night on Raw. She scored the first singles win of her professional wrestling career on the Red Brand. She called upon the finishing move of one of wrestling's all-time greats to finish off Valhalla in their match on Monday's episode of Raw. Dupree's offense was simple at first, consisting mainly of arm drags along with a fisherman suplex and a variation of the caterpillar frequently utilized by Otis, but Dupree saved her best for last. The finale of the 3.5-minute contest saw her unleash the Japanese Ocean Cyclone suplex, adding a bridge to secure the pin. The Japanese Ocean Cyclone Suplex was innovated and popularized by Mayumi Toyota. The Japanese wrestling legend is widely considered to be one of the greatest performers, regardless of gender, to ever step foot inside of a squared circle. She retired from full-time wrestling in 2017 after a 30-year in-ring career. In stark comparison, Monday's match is only the second of Dupree's career. She tagged with Alpha Academy to defeat the Viking Raiders and Valhalla in a mixed tag team match earlier on Raw this month. Dupree was called up from NXT in July 2022 without having wrestled a single match whilst in the developmental system. But congratulations to her as she wins her first match. But there you go, guys. It's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And I'll speak for you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.